Hi, welcome to my channel. This is Lies and Logic, and my name is Matt Garrett. So it appears Kamala Harris is walking back her position on the AR-15. She is now claiming she will not enforce a buyback plan for gun owners. Instead, she just plans to end the sale and distribution for such rifles in the United States. What many don't understand is the world is relying on the Constitution of the United States. Perhaps you remember this movie.
Call it the taste of soldiery then. The English won't let us train with weapons, so we train with stones.
Well, the taste of a soldier is not in his arm. It's here.
You see, there's a reason the king didn't let the Scottish train with weapons. The same reason slavers didn't let slaves learn to read. It begins to even out the playing field. The US has remained the most free country in the world for one simple reason: the Second Amendment. It states, a well-regulated militia is necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Have you noticed what happens to protesters in Canada and outside the US when we protest something the government doesn't agree with?
You do have to look yourself in the mirror every morning. Think about yourself.
We're not touching you!
And what's your reason?
See, the UK began their regulation of guns in the mid-17th century as leaders feared for their lives after the assassination of William of Orange of the Netherlands, who led a revolt against the Spanish that sparked the 80 Years' War. Their attempt to disarm was rectified by the enactment of the Bill of Rights in 1688, but that only lasted until 1715, at which point they began a systematic dismantling of people's rights to protect themselves. They of course always used the same old excuse: this is in the best interest of the people. Their dismantling was like a boa constrictor, slowly but surely tightening, especially through the last century, in which it seemed as though every 10 or so years they would pass new regulations. Then in 1988, after their first mass shooting, they restricted a variety of common weapons. Of course, the shooter was a lone gunman with no known motive. The Founding Fathers knew a few things that were happening in Europe, and they wanted to protect their lands, empowering the people. They were escaping the banking cartels and the laws that ultimately weakened the people. After they declared their independence in 1776, they amended the Constitution in 1791 with the right to bear arms. The same systematic breakdown was used on Canadian gun rights. I'm sure you've heard the phrase, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Now, one thing is for sure: if you remove the right to keep and sell automatic weapons, you will make it harder for people to obtain them. But will that stop massacres? In Canada, we have had many massacres over the course of our history. Some involving guns, some involving bombs, some used their vehicles, and some even caused fires that took countless lives. Since increasing the gun restrictions in 2022, here in Canada we have had, I believe, 2 stabbing massacres, which was one of my main fears for Canadians, as it seemed like the most likely way someone intent on causing harm could achieve their goals effectively. We have 1/10 of the population of the United States, so you would expect that they have roughly 10 times the crime. Perhaps even more so, since many areas are so densely populated. Like apes, we begin to fracture into tribes as our population grows. I truly don't believe we would see a decrease in death in the US if we removed automatic weapons. We may see an initial dip, but I don't believe massacres would end. To be honest, I would be far more afraid of someone walking into my child's school with explosives rather than a gun. Most of these shooters seem to have accepted their likely fate, and I believe they choose guns simply because it's slightly easier to obtain than researching how to make explosives. But a motivated psychopath is far scarier without guns than they are with them. Most of the people who view my channel know there are corporate forces at work that don't like the idea of human rights. They know guns are the great equalizer. Have you noticed they don't plan on removing those weapons from their arsenals? Perhaps the people wouldn't disagree so intensely if they knew even military and law enforcement could never use automatic weapons either. They just released the movie Oppenheimer, which discussed the need to have the bomb first so they aren't weaker than their enemies. Well, the people have to refuse being weaker than their government. So America, the world is counting on you to stay strong for all of us. Thanks for watching. This is Lies and Logic. My name is Matt Garrett. See you next time.